Scanning for audio.
Hello and welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. It feels like I've been away for a very long time, but that's because all of the podcasts from over the summer were recorded before the 6-week school holidays. But I'm back now, and I've just been to Whooverville. Now, over the next few weeks, I'm going to try and get 2 podcasts out a week. One of them will be an interview that I and my colleagues on the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance carried out, and the other one will be one of the ongoing reviews of DVDs and Big Finish audio and that kind of thing. But before I go into the exciting world of Graham Harper and of Lisa Bowman and Andrew Cartmel and Simon Fisher-Becker, I just want to say that Whooverville 5, well 5.0 as it was officially known, was superb, just as good as always. Everyone just turned up in the podcasting room, the new podcasting room, with the added bonus of windows. Oh yes, no expense spared round our way. As always, it was simply great, seeing everyone that I know and just catching up. It was as if the last year just hadn't happened. Yes, I've got more grey hair and everyone's just a little more rounder or slightly more haggard looking, but that's how podcasters look. That's fine. That's why we're all on the radio. So before all that nonsense, here's a word that I had with some voice that you might find a little familiar in a corridor. So until next time, be seeing you.
It's been a long day, hasn't it?
It certainly has.
It's been a good one now.
It has. It's been very good. Right, for anyone listening, you might recognise that voice. We're in a lovely echoey corridor with the worst acoustics known to man, but
we're dealing with it.
We certainly are. Right, have you recognised the voice yet? You might have remembered from a year ago on another podcast.
About a year ago, maybe slightly longer than that. I don't know. I've lost count with everything that's been occurring.
So, James,
hello.
You are the English contingent of Podshock, or is Podshock coming back?
I don't. In honesty, I don't know what's happening. I mean, Lewis has obviously been hit hard by Sandy and is recovering, and Ken and I said that we want to take a bit of a break from the show because Ken's he's been going through a lot of things and I've been going through a lot of things. Life's very, very busy.
So Ken was unwell. He had a heart attack.
Yes, very much so.
But now he's got a job running a convention.
He has.
One of the least stressful jobs known to man, and not even remotely conduciing towards getting better, Ken.
Indeed. But he's doing very well on it, and he is in fine fettle. He's now the showrunner, is how he refers to himself, of LI Who, the convention in Long Island in New York, happening in November. I forget the dates off the top of my head.
Which I'm guessing you're not going to.
I can't, unfortunately. I think it's in sort of early November, and I can't make it because I'll be working. I can't get the time off work, unfortunately. But maybe in the future, maybe in the second one. They've got a fantastic lineup of guests, including Sylvester McCoy, which for a first convention to say they're setting out to get a doctor going there is fantastic. They've also got people like Daphne Ashbrook going, Simon Becker-Fisher is going, a list of guests as long as your arm. So
which is pretty impressive.
Indeed, and it's keeping Ken very busy, and he's very much enjoying it.
And it's nice that it's in the North Coast as well.
It is, yeah. I mean, they've got... I mean, it seems that the conventions, they're building in the States, so I guess as Doctor Who becomes more of a mainstream kind of thing, given that you can find Doctor Who merchandising everywhere these days in the States.
Try finding it here.
Indeed. So it's building with momentum, and you've got Galley and Chicago TARDIS and conventions in Florida, but nothing really specific to Doctor Who in New York, so that's why it's fantastic that Ken's decided to do something himself, take the bull by the horns, as it were.
So, but on the podcasting front, you and Ken have been sneaking one under the radar.
Indeed. Doctor Who, an occasional podcast at occasionalpodcast.com. You know, Ken sort of said, do you fancy doing something again, particularly in light of Peter Capaldi's casting? And it's really felt like coming home. As I say, I don't know how long I've been out of podcasting, but it's fabulous to be back in it. It's fabulous.
The last Podshock listed is from December last year.
Yeah, but I haven't been on for some time, probably a year or so before that.
So real life had come along to mug you.
Indeed, family, job, you know, trying to marriage and everything else. You know how it is. It's things get in the way of podcasting.
I was podcasting on the day I was married. All right, well, that's fantastic. So, just for anyone listening who wasn't paying attention, how do you find the new podcast?
I've just really enjoyed it. I think it's been great to kind of get back into it, and I have to say I have missed it, and I think Ken has too. And it felt great to sit back down and to record some stuff, which is why, despite calling it an occasional podcast, we've released 3 episodes in the past 2 weeks, mainly to gear up for Whooverville, which is fabulous, and it's wonderful to see people like yourself. It feels great every year to meet at the same convention.
Well, it's true. And we just pick up at exactly the same
where
spot
we left off
last year. It's as if the last year didn't
never
really
existed.
Happened.
And it is weird walking around here actually, because it does feel like it. It doesn't feel like it was a year ago.
Not at all. Some of us have got wider, some of us have got less hair, but it's still the same. Some of us have more hair and are thinner, just to stop anyone being offended by that. But yeah, that's kind of it. And it is really odd, but that's what conventions are about, especially for us, because we spend the whole time in the podcast room, miss the talks on the stage, get to visit the dealer's room once, but we still get to chat to each other, and that's the important bit.
And it's meeting up with your mates, isn't it? And
it is.
Having a natter after 12 months, and hopefully maybe a beer or so after this if we can fit it in, but
definitely
we'll have to see how things go.
Well, that's it. Proof that he hasn't vanished and he's still out there, and you can find his show.
Still alive.
So until next time, be seeing you.
Cheers, mate.
You have been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. Doctor Who and its associated shows are all trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Contact us at tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk.